In my last video on the hymn to St. Henry II, when I was translating the Latin, I came across the word colentes, and my initial reaction was to translate it as worshiping, which of course is not really appropriate for a saint, so I corrected myself and said something like revering or showing honor to. But why the instinctive defaulting to worshiping? Well, the word colentes is a form of the word colere or colo, if you look it up in a dictionary. And this word is interesting. It has some strange meanings, and it's worth talking about for that reason. I have in front of us right here the Lewis and Short entry on the word. Lewis and Short is a Latin dictionary. It's fairly standard. It has a lot of examples from all sorts of literature, so you can see the word in different context. We don't need to read into that. We're going to focus on the bolded words. So, colo or colere is the root of many words that we are familiar with. So one of them is agriculture, right? And of course, from that culture as well. And also colonist, because the root meaning of colo or colere has to do with agriculture. It has to do with tending fields. And the meaning that we're given in Lewis and Short is to cultivate, to till, to tend, to take care of a garden or field. Okay? And so the core meaning of this verb is taking care of your gardens and fields. Colere, and whence we have agriculture. And there are some derived words in Latin. We have colonus. This is a person who lives on a field and takes care of it for someone else. And incola is a person who dwells in a place and thus they're taking care of those fields. And an agricola is a farmer. So the root idea behind colere is to take care of a field, to cultivate the field. Okay, but we get a transferred sense from that because if a person is taking care of a field, then they probably live on the field. It would be unusual for them, at least in the mind of the Romans, to be traveling very far to take care of this field. So a secondary sense of colere is to abide, to dwell, to stay in a place, to inhabit. And this is without any reference to economic activity, it says in Lewis and Short. So we can say, for instance, as they have in our first example here, colere hanc domum, he lives in this house. And so it isn't necessarily having to do with agriculture. It can just be about living somewhere, which comes from living there and taking care of the fields, what we're putting away, the taking care of the fields parts. Okay, so, but there are more meanings of this word. Here we have a third meaning, to bestow care upon a thing or to care for it. And again, this is growing out of the sense of the word as having to do with fields. If I am living in the field and cultivating the field, then it is a source of my constant care and attention. I'm always thinking about the field. I'm always trying to do something good for the field. I'm always taking care of the field. My mind is occupied with it. So I bestow care upon it. I care for it. And it's from this that we get the idea of gods getting involved, right? If a god, in the Roman mind, colit, right? He does this action upon a place. And that means that they are frequently in that place, just like a person who colit a field is frequently in the field. A god who colit a temple is frequently in that temple, right? And if a god is there, then they must cherish it. They must care for it. They must protect it. They must be the guardian of it. So colit has this sort of divine meaning as well as this purely economic meaning. And likewise, we have of humans, we'll say that a person who colit his body is taking care of it, right? He's attending to it, he's dressing it, he's clothing it, he's decorating it, he's keeping it nice and fit. And also, with abstract objects, people might say to cherish it, to seek it, to practice it, to devote oneself to it. So if someone colit virtue, then they are sort of growing virtue like you would grow tomatoes in a garden. Because again, we have this core economic sense that relates to agriculture being extended to other things besides your field. It can also extend to your mental and moral faculties. Okay. What else have we got for colere? So a god can collite a place, and that means that they take care of it and live there and protect it. But a person can also collere the gods, which is to do the same thing for the gods that you would do for the fields, to show them care, consideration, and attention, right? And so we have of collere to regard one with care, to honor, to revere, to reverence, and to worship. And this is very, very common, and this is why I translate colentes as to worship when I see it in a religious context. To honor, to respect, to revere, and to worship. Again, to have this attitude of care, love, and attention towards something which isn't necessarily a field. From here, we have also honoring and treating respectfully, revering and worshiping. And of course, from there are more purely agricultural senses of cultivating a field and decorating a place, taking care of a place. If you say something in a culte or a cultum way, then you have said it with elegance, to speak with care and diligence and maybe beauty. And all of these words are the same thing in Latin. They're all the same idea. Whence we have cult in English. A cult is a group of people who do this action towards something. Maybe it's towards a saint, maybe it's towards some god, but they are a cult because they collunt whatever it is that they're giving honor, reverence, and perhaps even worship to. We also have culture, which is the total nexus of things that your people value, right? All the virtues that they consider to be reverenceable and honorable taken together as a mass. Culture and agriculture, which is the act of taking care of the fields. And I think that's all of them. That's, well, colonist is a person who, that's a pure sense of just living in the place. So this word is particularly Roman, I think, because it has a dual sense of something deeply related to fields and agriculture. The Romans are very pastoral people. I often describe them as little war hobbits. If you think of the Roman Empire as the sort of imperious and dignified and broad, marble statues, that's kind of depicted as, yes, that is a way to look at it, but that's sort of looking at Rome from the outside. The Romans themselves tend to think of themselves as an agricultural people. They are war hobbits. And so this word that has to do both with religion and with the cultivation of fields and, of course, personal virtue is a very Roman word, and it seeps into all the ways that we express things in Latin when we speak in Latin.